The only certainty is uncertainty. The only certainty is uncertainty. If you can understand and appreciate this truth, you start to pay attention more to that uncertainty. And if you pay attention enough, you come to the realization where there is change, there has to be changelessness also. To see flowing water, that bed upon which that water is cannot move. To know change, there has to be changelessness. Putting it differently, have you ever been on a boat up a river? We tend to do this in Caribbean islands. Boat, river, yes, no? A train in Bharat. When you're on a boat and you're traveling, it looks like the trees and the soil is moving, when actuality you are moving. When you're on a train, it looks like the platform is moving, but you are moving. If we understand the idea of change and changelessness, the fact that you know movement, that you know change, that you know effort, there's a aspect of you, and I'm politely saying a, really it should be the only aspect of you, that is changeless, that is certain. This helps us to rediscover our nature, which is like a lotus. Where does the lotus grow? In water or mud. Is the lotus ever watery? Is it ever wet because of that water? Is it ever muddy? Does it get dirty because of what it grows in? This retreat is called Finding Calmness where? In chaos. The chaos is that water, is the mud. The chaos is the uncertainty, the change. Where are you supposed to find that calmness? Right here, right now. And if you can find it here and now, which is more controlled, when you go to the uncontrolled, which is in 24 hours, you will still be in that calmness. Thinking more about who we are. This chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is focusing on the gunas. The gunas make up the causal body. The gunas make up the causal body. What does the causal body make up? The subtle body. In other words, the antakarana. which simply is your mind intellect, is the software. So the gunas are the seed for the antakarana. The causal body is the seed for your software. The causal body you can change into blueprint. The blueprint for your software. And the antakarana is the seed for the bahikarana, or this body, the hardware. So what you see when you look in the mirror, that's only the tip of who you are. You're more the software, and even more than that, you're the blueprint behind the software. Do you ever think about why you think in a certain way? Why some people are more business-oriented, some people are more professional-oriented, some people are more artistic, some people are more athletic. This comes out very strongly in families with multiple siblings. I know some of your families where there's multiple siblings, you're so different. My sisters and I, you wouldn't even know we're in the same family. But we had the same context, same parents, same schools. But our blueprint was different, our software is different, our hardware is different. So if you want to change your life, you need to go to that blueprint and change that. How do you get to the blueprint? By changing the software. How you think. If you are thinking differently, which means you're trying to change, here's how you'll know if you're changing. Your body becomes more calm. When you tell your body to sit quietly, it does. When you tell your body to run intensely, it does. The body is being instructed by the mind. How do you know if your mind is growing? It becomes more quiet. You can sleep better, you can wake up better. You know that you're thinking differently. And that's because it's being instructed by the intellect. How do you know if your intellect is changing? It becomes more still. You can analyze the situation quickly and make the right decision. Because there's no games that are being played. You know in politics how hard it is to make a decision. But for someone who has a still intellect, they're efficient. They're effective. So calm, quiet, and still. Prince Arjuna loves this idea of being more efficient and more effective. Do you like this idea too? You want to be more efficient? You want to be more effective? That's what I said. We're like Arjuna. He wants to be more efficient, more effective. So in Shloka 21, he asks Bhagavan Krishna, tell me how this can be me. Arjuna's thinking, and he's realizing that meaninglessness is unacceptable. Being a prince but not having the meaning behind a prince, that's not acceptable to me. For all of us, being in school but not knowing why we're in school should be unacceptable. Work the same way, relationships the same way. You are a thinking person if you start to deny meaninglessness. And if you do, you will ask, how do I bring more meaning? How do I be more efficient, more effective? And Bhagavan, of the nature of love, starts to answer this. In Shloka 22, he says, the person who is free, the person who has found meaning, they are content. If you're content, there's no feeling of incompleteness, correct? If there's no incompleteness, what goes away? Projections. If projections goes away, what goes away?
Attachment.
Attachment. No attachment, no fear. No fear, no anger. Everybody wants to be less angry, correct? We buy t-shirts that say no fear. The only way is to be content. And now that's a really elevated aspiration. A way you know you're moving towards contentment. Acharya Shankara teaches in a beautiful text called Atma Bodha. I will be teaching this starting in September, Thursday evenings, online. And I would encourage all of you to form study groups to study this with me. In this text, Acharya Shankara describes what Rakshasas are. What is a Rakshasa? A demon. What is a demon? A Rakshasa. What's a demon?
Rajas.
Rajas, sort of. Internalize. What are your demons? Anger, jealousy, fear, hatred. Acharya Shankara says Raga and Dvesha. Likes and dislikes are Rakshasas. See, if a demon is living in your home, can you ever be at ease? Even hearing about ghost stories yesterday, none of us were at ease, right? Walking with our flashlights, sleeping with our flashlights. That's just the hearing about it. But imagine there's actually a ghost in your home. I'm not saying there is, but there could be. It could be in your room right now. You can't be at ease. You can't be yourself. But for the person who's content, they have less likes and dislikes. If all of the chocolate cake has been eaten by people who are taking more than one slice, it's okay. No likes or dislikes. I'm not saying that happened to me. If you have to contemplate sitting on the ground, no likes and dislikes. Now that may be too elevated for us also. Remember I was telling you that I think my wife and I are having a son. We think. But I also mentioned that we have a light preference for a girl. See, I didn't say I like a girl. Because what if I have a boy? Then I'm going to be shaken by it. Preferences are very functional. Do you have a preference for hash brown or pancakes? Right? If you have a preference, if it's a pancake but hash browns come, no problem. But if you like pancakes, then today you are unhappy at breakfast, correct? So have preferences. It will purge us of likes and dislikes. If we're purged of likes and dislikes, we will have more contentment. Don't tell me this is not practical. I don't know what's more practical than this. You know what's more practical than this? Someone else living your life. That's the only more practical aspect of this teaching. In shloka 23, Bhagavan Krishna shares more about how someone who is free lives, how they carry themselves. And he brings up the most powerful word, avatishtati. Avatishtati means centered yet moving. Centered in the self, not self-centered. Centered in the self and moving in the world. Can you give me examples of people you know who exemplify avatishtati, that are centered here, grounded, balanced, solid, strong, yet are dynamic in the world with people? Swami Chinmaya. That's it. You have really small circles of people you're paying attention to. Shri Ramana. President Obama, good enough. I wouldn't say he's centered in the self. He's pretty close, but I don't know if I would go that far. But this is a faith-based discussion, so if you have that faith, very good. Yeah, you know, if you've studied Swami Tejamaya, I've lived with him. So I know for sure that he can be making the highest decisions and the next moment singing a bhajan and the next moment making fun of me or someone in a very light way. You know, that shows centered yet moving. Avatishtati. Now the next 3 shlokas we're going to study are such powerful shlokas. All morning I've been thinking about when I can teach this next. That's how wonderful these shlokas are. And a key word in each of these shlokas is tulya. Tulya means equal, means balance. Okay? You'll see this word come up many times. Please repeat after me. I'm on shloka 24, verse 24. Sama dukkha sukha swastaha.
Sama dukkha sukha swastaha.
Samaloshtāshma kanchanaha.
Samaloshtāshma kanchanaha.
Tulya priya priyo dhīraha.
Tulya priya priyo dhīraha.
Tulya nindatma samstutihi.
Tulya nindatma samstutihi.
Now what am I going to say? Yes, together and louder. Sama dukkha sukha swastaha. Samaloshtāshma kanchanaha. Tulya priya priyo dhīraha. Tulya nindatma samstutihi. You're all quite capable in chanting. I'm impressed. My expectations aren't too high. I'm impressed. Sama. This is a beautiful word. What does sama mean? Balance, equal. All words like that. Dukkha, in sorrow. Sukha, in joy. We're describing someone who's found calmness in chaos. Someone who is thinking about meaning. Someone who's free. Someone who's content. Someone who's centered yet moving. They are balanced. If you take the word dukkha more literally, dukkha means bad space. When they're in a bad place, they are fine. And sukha means a good place. When they're in a good place, they are fine. How fine? Swastaha. Staha means they are established in swa. It's a similar word as avadishta. How else do they live? Sama. The word sama comes again. What does sama mean? Even, equal. Loshta means earth, a clump of earth. Ashma means a stone. Here it says precious stone. One place I've read, just a stone. And Kanchanaha? Gold. Obviously we have to use gold in Indian examples, right? I know you've heard this from me before, but I love thinking about this picture. So I saw a picture of Michael Phelps with all of his medals on. You know, so many, like 20 golds and some silver and bronze. And then there's pictures of Indians at weddings, and it said, "We have more gold." Kanchana. For someone who is calm, earth, stone, and gold are all the same. Now, if you think about it, where did the earth, the stone, and gold come from? The ground, no? They all came from the same place. Haven't we all come from the same place too? Think. Tulya. What does tulya mean? Equal. Balance. You should change your name to Tulya. Okay, so whatever your name is, Tulya. People change their name when they go to high school or university. You should change your name post-retreat. Tulya. Priya. Priya means someone who's dear to you. Apriya, someone you are not fond of. Dhira, for someone who's deep. They are fine when people they like are with them, when people they dislike are with them. And then the word tulya comes again. Ninda. Ninda means criticism. And stutihi means compliments. How are they in criticism and compliments? Fine. Balancing. Don't you want this shloka to describe you? Wouldn't you be the master if this shloka described you? Like, this is your eulogy. This person died. They were sama dukkha sukha swasta. Sama loshtashtma kanchana. Like, that'd be amazing. We talk about they wore great perfume and they studied here. Who cares? This is so amazing. Okay, at an absolute level. Brahman will figuratively put on the top. Brahman expresses himself, herself through what? Maya. Maya is the creative aspect of Brahman. Maya expresses himself, herself as or through. Another word for names and forms? Namarupa. Another name for Namarupa? Gunas. So see, we study a ladder of fall. This is also a ladder of fall, no? We go from Brahman to Maya to Gunas. Brahman, Maya, Gunas. Now here, Bhagavan Krishna is sharing all of this that is happening. Good space, bad space, earth, stone, gold, likable people, dislikable people, criticism and compliments. Where does this happen? Does this happen at the Guna level, or the Maya level, or the Brahman level? Where does it happen? At the Guna level. And if someone is not affected by these gunas, doesn't it mean they're at Brahman's level? That's what this shloka is teaching, is to be Brahman. Be infinite. What's another word or synonym for the most infinite also has to be the most? I hammered this yesterday. If you're the most infinite, that also means you're the most independent. Someone who's independent is not shaken by these happenings. So here, when you are higher, you're not affected by the lower. And if I can take this even more deeply, in this shloka, Bhagavan Krishna is saying, give up your individuality. Give up your name. Give up your form. Give up your name means stop living a life of doership. Give up your form means let go of the limitations that you're this body. I've told you this many times. When we were studying at the ashram, every full moon they shaved our head. And it's a very unique experience. They don't come and, they have hot foam and they give you a head massage. They come with their straight blades. They sprinkle water on your head symbolically and then they hack. Like hair comes off, skin comes off, there's some brain particles that come off also. And after we had our head shaved the first time, I thought to myself, I'm going to be here for at least another 2 years. Unless they kick me out, I'm going to be here for at least 2 more years. This will be a great opportunity to grow a nice beard. Sheila's not here. I don't have to go to any sort of work or school. I'm going to grow a nice beard. So the next time they came to shave our heads, they shaved our heads, but I told them not to shave my face. Okay? So that afternoon, after Gita class, we all go and prostrate to Swami Tejumaya. He was our resident Acharya. And he looked at me and then he goes, oh, we have a mullah that's studying with us now. And I thought he's just teasing, no big deal. Next morning, 5:30 a.m. is our first class. We have Vedic chanting. And we end our class with quiet time. Some of you got to experience this in our travels. So everyone's eyes are closed, we're just being quiet. And then our Upacharya, his name is now Swami Shardananda, he says, in Vedic culture, when we shave our head, we shave our face too. And he never speaks during this time. So I was like, maybe I'm hallucinating. I should check to see if he's actually said anything. And I opened my eyes and everyone's staring at me. So I sadly went back to the bathroom and I shaved myself. And I thought to myself, why are they so adamant that I shave my face? And I realized with time, it's because I'm not an individual. We all have the same rooms. We all wear the same clothes. We are all to look the same as much as possible. We have 3 meals. You can't go in between and have a snack. Oh, I didn't feel like having breakfast. I'm going to have a snack during this time. They rub out that individuality. And why this is so beautiful is that if I'm not the individual, I become the total then, no? And that drop of water merges with the ocean. It's like, oh no, the drop of water is going away. It should be, oh yes, I'm becoming the ocean. But our egos fight, isn't it? My name should be known. My form should be known. This is a difficult journey. Like a razor's edge. You make one mistake, you cut yourself or fall. At a relative level, what is this shloka trying to teach us? The only certainty is uncertainty. No article. Give me examples of articles. Give me examples of stuff that you know. Clothes. Jewelry. Gadgets. Okay, those widgets that spin around. That's an article. Beings. Give me examples of beings in your life. Family. Friends. Teachers. Pets. They're also beings. Circumstances. What kind of circumstances are in your life? Death. Pain. This retreat. Graduation. No article, no being, and no circumstance is intrinsically pleasurable or painful. No article, being, circumstance is intrinsically pleasurable or painful. And I'll explain this in a very light way. How many of you enjoy eating bindi? Bindi is also known as okra or ladyfingers. There's a lot of names for bindi. How many of you enjoy eating bindi? How many of you do not enjoy eating bindi? Okay, I'll kind of put my hand up like this. Not like this, nor like this, but kind of like this. Suppose our babies make bindi for lunch. Instead of grilled cheese sandwiches, bindi. So they have a fresh plate of bindi, and it's there. Now some of you are happy that there's bindi instead of grilled cheese sandwiches. Some of us are unhappy that there's bindi instead of grilled cheese sandwiches. If bindi was intrinsically pleasurable, then all of us should enjoy bindi, correct? And if it was intrinsically painful, which it is, if it was intrinsically painful, then none of us should like bindi, correct? So if you know no article, being, circumstance contains pleasure or pain, should you be shaken by any article or being or circumstance? When it comes into your life, when it goes out of your life? That's what this shloka is teaching. When you think along these lines, you reprogram your blueprint. See, this is, I'm working on the software. There's a virus in our software right now. There's chaos. I'm pressing K, but L keeps coming up. I keep wanting to go to Google. It keeps taking me to Safari. I keep going to Safari. It's taking me to Netscape. As if Netscape still exists. There's viruses in our software. But if you can keep on thinking in a certain way, your whole blueprint changes, where you become balanced, equal, even. You become invincible. Like Mario. That star, you always have that star. That star never ends. That would be awesome. Here's your tactile point on how to bring this shloka to life. When you're speaking to someone, what is some annoying behaviors when speaking to people? Annoying behaviors when speaking to people. Close-mindedness. I thought you were going to say close talkers. Close talkers are also annoying. You don't need to be that close. I can hear you.
Interrupting.
You know, you're saying something, I already know. Or I'm already giving advice before I've even completed.
Not making eye contact.
Not making eye contact, certainly. The tactile point here is listen fully. When someone is speaking, let them finish. Listen to them entirely. Even if they're speaking very closely, if they're not looking at you in the eyes, listen to them fully. If you listen to them fully, there's many changes that will happen. You will understand more, no? You won't let this mind play as many games. If you understand more, you will speak fully too. You will be more clear with that person. And so much of the hardships that come with interacting with people, this will become easier. Listen fully, speak fully. Then you go from a reactive person to a responsive person. When there's an emergency, they don't call the first reactors, right? They call the first responders. Because they're calm in that chaos. Reactors are people like you and I. We don't know what to do. Listen fully. I've seen Swami Tejomayananda practice this a whole lot. He's heard every question 1,000 times. But even as someone is asking, he'll still listen fully. And then he'll pause. And then he'll respond. It's not like I already know what you're going to ask. Here's the answer. See ya. There's so much balance. And the more balanced he is, the more balance he can share with others. I hear a lot of kids tell me that their parents have selective hearing. Your parents have selective hearing, right? I hear a lot of parents tell me their kids have selective hearing. But if you listen fully, parents and kids will just understand each other more. What is the theme of the day or theme of the discourse? Tulya. It comes out a whole lot. It's like Bhagavan Krishna didn't find a better word, so he just kept on saying Tulya. I'm on shloka 25. Mana pamana yostulyaha.
Mana pamana yostulyaha.
Tulyo mitrari pakshayoho.
Tulyo mitrari pakshayoho.
Sarvarambha parityagi.
Sarvarambha parityagi.
Gunatitasya uchyate.
Gunatitasya uchyate.
Mana yostulyaha. Tulyo mitrari pakshayo. Sarvarambha parityagi. Gunatitasya uchyate. Who's speaking right now? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Who's listening right now? Who? 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 Your name. Okay? Shri Sneha Uvacha, or whatever it is. Because Prince Arjuna wants to know, how can I be efficient and effective? And Bhagavan Krishna is describing the efficient, effective person. He's describing how we can be like that. So he continues here. Mana. What does mana mean? Mana means honor. Apamana, dishonor. This word mana is the opposite of this is a very beautiful name, Amani. That's a wonderful name, Amani. That's another name you can change yours to. So I think I gave you Avatishtati, Tulyaha, now Amani. You'll all leave here so confused. In honor and dishonor, how is the efficient and effective person? Tulya. And right after Tulya, Tulya again. Tulya with Mitra. Who's a Mitra?
Friend.
A friend. Who's it? And the next is Ari. Ari is?
Enemy.
Enemy. Someone who is balanced with friends, balanced with enemies. Sarvarambha parityagi. The person who doesn't start anything because they have nothing to gain, and you always have to think, if there's nothing to gain, there's nothing to lose. Please remember this third quarter. Someone who never starts. It seems like this person's highly tamasic, no? But you have to think more. They're not starting because they have nothing to gain. Gunatita sa uchyate. Such a person is known to be not tamasic, not rajasic, not sattvic, but beyond all of the gunas, which means they're Brahman. They're infinite, they are independent. I'll explain some more. So far, the word tulyaha in the last two shlokas has been used 4 times. Tulyaha with priya and apriya. What does priya mean? Likeable, apriya, dislikable. Referring to people specifically. Then tulya came with stutihi and ninda. What does stuti mean?
Praise.
Compliments. And ninda?
Criticism.
Criticism. Next, we come here. Tulya with mana. Mana means, again, compliments. Apamana means criticism. Tulya with mitra. Mitra means likable. Adi means dislikable. Bhagavan Krishna is sharing in all of this. Someone who's not shaken, someone who's balanced with likable people and dislikable people, with people who compliment them and criticize them, it's because they don't see themselves separate from that person. They don't feel themselves separate from the words of that person. If I look in the mirror and say, Vivek, you're the biggest jerk I know, am I affected by that? Most likely not. Or if I look in the mirror and say, Vivek, you're the most popular person I know. I'm the only one there. Obviously, I'm the most popular person. Right? I don't leave the bathroom and say, everyone, I'd like to declare that I'm the most popular person I know. Because there's only oneness there. You can only have friends and enemies with someone else. Likeable and dislikable. But in oneness, all of this is release. Swami Chinmaya was interviewed many years ago. But what is the practicality of Vedanta? Here you are traveling the world. What utility is there to what you're teaching? And Swamiji gave this example. He says, suppose I go onto a bus and the bus is packed. And I have a seat. Swamiji has a seat on this bus. And someone walks onto this bus and this person's standing, can't find a seat, and they kind of keep bumping into the person, to Swamiji. And Swamiji's kind of feeling, shaken by this person. This person is feeling cranky that this person is not giving them a seat. Then Swamiji looks up at this person and says, oh, aren't you the person who interviewed me in such and such place? And that person says, yes, you're the Swamiji who I was talking about. And they get to chatting, and then eventually Swamiji shares a seat with him, right? See, as long as he thought that person was separate, just get away from my personal space. But as soon as there was any form of connection, see how that behavior totally changed? Imagine we were able to do that with every single person. That we go past their body, breath, mind, intellect, ego, to the reason they're alive is the same reason I'm alive, which means we're on the same team. Imagine the Shiites and the Sunnis realize they're on the same team. Imagine the Muslims and the Jewish people realize they're on the same team. Imagine people in Pakistan and people in India realize they're all part of Bharatvarsha. Imagine we stopped focusing on genus and species and started moving to kingdom and phylum. You move over here, there's less and less separation. There's more and more unification. I think bigger than kingdom is domain, I think. I think there's only one domain. So much impact that comes with this vision. I bring this to a more relative level. Why do we take criticism so seriously? Why do we take criticism so seriously?
It feels like an attack on us.
It feels like an attack on us. Gotta go deeper.
It's our ego. It's affecting our ego.
Deeper.
We can't criticize ourselves, so it kind of takes the place of that.
Deeper.
We take compliments so seriously.
We take compliments so seriously. The more seriously you take a compliment, the more seriously you're going to take a criticism. Here, if we want to be this person who's tulya, when someone compliments you, instead of saying, I do in that compliment, bring in, we did it. He did it. Then that compliment gets spaced out like a bell curve, everything gets flattened out. So when the criticism comes in, that's also spaced out. If you make a mistake, we did it. He did it. I think that if we can take criticism less seriously, our world will just be different. You know what's funny about this? As long as I compliment you, what do I become to you? A friend, mitra, priya. But one day I come and criticize you, all of a sudden I become apriya. I become your ari. That criticism, that compliment gets extrapolated to people. That is a very shallow way to live. That I only have friends with people who compliment me. And people who don't, enemy. I defriend them on Facebook. You are my enemy. Soon they will have that. Now they have like a crying symbol and a flower symbol. Soon they'll have an arrow. You can put arrows to people's posts instead of dislike. It'll be more intense. And if you want to stop taking criticism so seriously, you have to be swa-sta. You have to be more centered in yourself. Then you don't get as shaky. If someone is going to compliment or criticize you, whose compliments and criticism should you take seriously? Whose? People who are greater than you. People who are wiser than you. Just like a japamala, isn't it? An ordinary person touches your japamala, it becomes dirty. An extraordinary person touches your japamala, becomes blessed. If you're going to take compliments and criticism, let it be from people who know you well. People who care for you in a deeper way. Ignorant people don't know they're ignorant. That's why you need a guru, someone who's outside of ignorance, to point out our ignorance. Here's the tactile point for shloka 25. What are the 3 things that we have that we can give to the world? 3 things. Wealth we'll call as resources. Deeper than that, time. And deeper than that, resources, time. Skills, close enough. Effort. Resources, time, effort. Your tactile point is to give your resources and time to the world. Give your resources and time. Now that may not be tactile enough. I will be more specific. As I was mentioning, this is an older retreat, which is quite unique. In many of our retreats, it's more skewed to a younger age. This is more skewed to an older age, which is unique, and it allows for a different message also. If you're 25, on your birth date, 2.5% of your gross income you should give to the world. If you give it to a charity, you get a donation receipt. On your birthday, 2.5% of the hours you have in a week, in other words, your time, you should give to volunteering. So if you make $50,000 a year on your birthday, within that year, you should be giving 2.5% of your gross income to the world. You have 168 hours a week, 2.5% of that is only 4 or 5 hours of volunteering. Now when you become 30, how much of your income are you giving? 30. How much of your time? 3%. As your body gets older, your mind should become more wise. Wise people give. They do not focus on getting. They're focused on being not dependent. If you're always giving, you start to enjoy that so much, you don't need compliments. You are not shaken by criticism. I hope you're connecting this tactile point. What's the strongest defense? What's the best defense? Strong offense, correct? If I want to be balanced with criticism and compliments, I should be so busy giving and enjoying that I don't care about what I get back, compliments or criticism. And this thought is further amplified in shloka 26. This is the second last shloka of this chapter. Bhagavan Krishna is continuing with telling Prince Arjuna, how can you be free? There is a very bhakti, a very devotion-oriented shloka. Mam cha yo vyapicharena bhakti yogena sevate Sadguna samatityetan Brahma bhuyaya kalpate Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate Sadguna samatityetan Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Ma means me. Who's me here? Bhagavan Krishna, our creator, the one who wrote this instruction manual, the one who knows the most about creation, including us. Yaha. Yaha means us. Avyabhicharena bhakti. The one who has unswerving, unshakable devotion to me. How is this devotion expressed? Seva, through service. Saha, such a person, gunan samatyetan, that person goes beyond gunas, which means they go beyond Maya, which means they are in tune with Brahman, which is why Bhagavan finishes this shloka by saying, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, that person is fit to become Brahman. That person has an intellect that is so still that they begin to hear the silence that is always there. I know people even today that can hear Bhagavan Krishna's flute being played in Vrindavan. That their intellects are so still that they can hear Bhagavan's flute. That is awesome. That is stunning. That is inspiring. At an absolute level. What does 3M stand for? 3M. When I say 3M, what do you think of? Paper, tape, etc., right? I think it stands for Minnesota Mining and Minerals. Not important. Our 3M. Here are the 3 M's I want you to remember. Murti, Madhyama, Manava. Murti, Madhyama, Manava. What does Murti mean in English? Icon. Icon is a nice word. I find it to be better than idol. Icon. Like a pop icon. Someone who symbolizes something more. What does madhyama mean? Middle or center. Center. And manava, humans. Doesn't just mean man, it means human. Where are you to see Bhagavan? So the word man is there. Where are you to see Bhagavan? Where are you to see the Creator? First, murti. In a icon. Specifically, in a mandir. Mandir means where the mind is directed. The mind is directed towards a icon. This journey doesn't go outwards, this journey goes inwards. So after Murti, where should you begin to see Bhagavan, the Creator? Madhyama means your own heart. You should see yourself as divine. You should see yourself as part of creation. Madhyama. And when you do that, when you are content, I'll rewind a little bit. If you have seen the Dark Knight trilogy, and you liked it a whole lot, didn't you tell other people to watch it? You watch it again and again and again with people. Because you have found contentment through Batman. You can't help but share that, right? If you go to a very beautiful vacation spot. Have any of you been to the Mayan Riviera in Mexico? My sister and cousin bought Sheila and I our honeymoon, and it was really cool. They never told us where we were going. They said just pack warmly and show up at the airport. And it was a really spontaneous honeymoon. The highlight of that was the cenotes. The cenote is an underground river. And there's these huge sinkholes in this part of Mexico. Huge, I mean like as big as this room. So it's 20 feet down, and then there's water. And this water, you're already 20 feet down, it's so dark, it's like navy blue. There's weird creatures that are swimming in there and so on, but it's so like, if you can imagine Lord of the Rings, but not in a cold place, but in a tropical place, that's what it's like. Now as I'm sharing it, don't you want to go to those cenotes too? One day we'll organize a yatra to Mexico. A yatra. When you begin to find Bhagavan in yourself, you can't help but start to see Bhagavan in others, manava, in people, in animals, in plants. So when Bhagavan Krishna says seva, it doesn't mean volunteering. Oh, I write down these hours so I get a presidential certificate. You try to see the divine in an icon, then in yourself, and then in all. See how much deeper that word seva is than the way we use it? How much more meaningful it is? At a relative level. Did the Warriors play yesterday, or was the game today?
First.
They played the first. Long time. Did the Penguins play yesterday, or are they playing? There's some Pittsburgh people here. Okay. If you take the regular season of any sort of league, the regular season, the purpose is this high, so the performance is this high. If a team is beating another team a lot, they don't put their starters on, right? Let them rest, let them enjoy. As you get into the playoffs, and you have a best of 7 series, if you lose a certain amount of games, you're out. So purpose is greater, so everyone's performance becomes greater. You get to the finals, you may never come to the finals again. Purpose is this high. Everyone's performances. You go to an Olympic level, which happens once every 4 years, not every year. That is the highest purpose in this world for athletics. One's performance is the highest also. In this shloka, Bhagavan Krishna is trying to teach us is your purpose pulls your performance. Your purpose pulls your performance. Bhagavan is trying to say, make God your purpose. And if God is too abstract, which Bhagavan is not, do you know what the word Bhagavan means? Bhagavan means bhagya. What does bhagya mean? Virtues. Bhagavan is the one who is virtuous endlessly, infinitely. So what should your purpose be? If it's not God, let it be a virtue. Let it be patience. Let it be compassion. Let it be discipline. Pick a virtue. If you make that your purpose, watch your performance. But if that is not your purpose, our performance is always shaky. I'll give you one more way to make this real. So I've already started by saying make God your purpose. Too abstract, make a virtue your purpose. Too abstract, I cannot bring it lower than where I'm going with this right now. Arjuna is suffering from 3 vices. Moha, Bhaya, Shoka. What does moha mean? Delusion or confusion. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what to do. That's like us. What school do I go to? What relationship should I be in? I'm confused. And where there is moha, what comes with it? Bhaya. Bhaya is fear. And we may have fear that I chose the wrong program or chose the wrong significant other. But the more significant fear is, I'm wasting my life. I'm doing and doing and doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. You can relate to that. My grandparents probably had a midlife crisis when they were 45. My parents probably had a midlife crisis when they were 40. We will probably have a midlife crisis when we're 35. I had my midlife crisis when I was 23. The sooner you have your midlife crisis, the better. Isn't it? Like someone who picked me up from the airport this last trip so generously took me the wrong way from the ashram. They were just showing me around Los Angeles and finally we got to the ashram. See, we found out an hour after. But what if we went 3 hours out and then realized, oh, we're going the wrong way? That would have been a 7-hour journey, correct? But thankfully, it was only 3 hours. And it was good. I needed to rest and write emails. I was happy. I got to eat Los Angeles food, Del Taco. See, a midlife crisis is not a crisis. It's a blessing. You know you're going the wrong way, so you turn around. Here's where I'm sharing that bhaya, that fear of I don't know what I'm doing. Follow that fear and you will find direction. But if you don't, if you are not sensitive enough to realize that crisis, it finally settles as shoka. What does shoka mean? Sorrow. We just become sad. Arjuna has gone through moha, bhaya, shoka. He's in shoka. And the reason for that is he's living a life of sakama. Sakama means selfishness. He went into this challenge identified with dharma. He was up here. Then he fell down to, I'm only going to live for Pandavas, for my family. He fell down more, I'm only going to live for myself. He went from totality to individuality. A lot of confusion and fear and sorrow that comes with it. So what is Bhagavan Krishna's message to Arjuna? Grow up from sakama to nishkama. Nishkama means selflessness. Live more selflessly. If you do that, it creates chitta shuddhi. What does chitta shuddhi mean? Purity of mind. What is purity of mind? Your mind becomes more quiet, your intellect becomes more still. Chitta shuddhi leads to Ahankara tyaga. You let go of the ego, and what's behind the ego? The spirit. Atma. So this shloka at a relative level means we're stuck in sakama. Let's grow up to nishkama. The purpose of our lives should be selflessness. Should be seva. Here's your tactile point. Establish a altar. Establish a altar. What is Swami Tejomayananda's famous line about an altar? An altar in life alters one's life. An altar in life alters one's life. You ask your parents when they found out that you were on your way, their whole life changed into shloka. A very typical example is, if a young couple who have a lot of disposable income, they're about to buy a Range Rover, a nice black Range Rover like they drive in spy movies. And then they find out that one of you is on the way, okay, when you were a kid. So instead of driving into that Range Rover dealership, where do they drive? Into the Honda dealership. Now, what did they buy at that Honda dealership? An Odyssey. Not even a Civic, an Odyssey. So they went from Range Rover to Odyssey. And in their mind, yes, Range Rover, Odyssey, they're synonyms with each other. See how they alter, that is you, alter their life? And I'm saying shloka jokingly. I'm sure the greatest joy in your parents' life is you. But the greatest sorrow is also you. I'm not going to mask what I'm saying. The greatest sorrow is also you. An altar in life alters your life. Establish an altar. How many of you have an altar in your bedroom? That is not a lot of you. You know what has irked me in this room? Is that so few of you treat this to be an altar. How many of you prostrated when you came and sat down? Not one of you. When everything you're learning from me, I've learned from him. Everything he's learned from God, yet you just think that's a piece of wood and plastic. You're not even trying to find Bhagavan in an icon. Leave alone in your heart or other people. Isn't it? I'm calling you out for your benefit, not because I'm trying to be a mean person. See that level of care and attention that's required. You should have an altar in every room that you sleep in. If you're in university, you should have an altar there. If you travel, you should have an altar there. Wherever I travel, the first thing I do is, like I said, I clean off my counter. I told you that yesterday. I set up my books. These books. Where I keep my planner is on a dirty table. Where I keep Gita is on a clean table. My cell phone does not go on the same table as my books. I keep my japamala there. I keep my icons there. Every room I go to. Establish an altar. And don't just have it for presentation like we treat this. You should communicate with your altar, with your purpose. Talk to God. Listen to the Guru. You think it happens outside. Your Guru is your own intellect, but you don't listen to your intellect, so your Guru takes on a name and form. And when you become sensitive enough to listen to your own intellect, your Guru moves on. Establish an altar and communicate with that altar. My teacher, Swami Shraddhananda, shared, in prayer you talk to God, in meditation God talks to you. Who has to initiate the conversation? You do. Lastly, when Bhagavan Rama was told that he is going to be the next king, what did he do? He smiled. When he was told that his brother is going to become the king and he has to go to the forest for 14 years, what did he do? Smiled. If you think of a role model, if you think of a sadguru who teaches finding your balance or calmness in chaos, nobody is better than Bhagavan Rama. Bhagavan Rama teaches us what real education is. Real education is not chemistry or organic chemistry or any form like that. It is being balanced, being calm, which makes us all, or we should question the education we've received or we're getting. And if you are sensitive to this, you will make this a commitment in your month and week and day. If you're tuning into what education is. This is a hall of some sort, if you want it to be, or this is an ashram, if you want it to be. An ashram is where you put extraordinary effort. It's much harder to see God in your heart than in an icon. You should never leave the ashram. That sign said I had to leave Sandipani, and I did leave Sandipani. But in Vivek's heart, I never left Sandipani. And I'm never going to leave Sandipani either. And that's possible for all of us. This retreat will end in 24 hours. I have to fly back. You have to go to your own respective cities. It doesn't have to be. And if it's ended, it's because you believe the chaos more than the calmness. Up to you. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Durgabhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Please stretch.